I will start with what is the reason all of us are here in this room? Why do we have a business? It's to have family and to prosper. And these are the guys who kind of keep me going. Anna, whose name is Munchkin in our house, and Sarah, whose nickname is Monster, because, man, the trail of destruction that child can, it belies her cute little face. It's just amazing. So they keep me going, and that's us on a mud walk last weekend. So Levico came out of a networking, which I think is really ironic being in this room. So I met my partner, Marc Hibbert, about 2018, and at a networking event downtown where we have our office in Glasgow. And we sat down, we had a chat, and we said, well, what do we want to do? Now, I was kind of booted out from the sustainable finance industry and looking for something new to do. And Marc had been made redundant at RES, which is a big wind industry player, because they had basically lost all of their onshore wind projects, and that's what he was specializing in. And we got together and we said, well, what do we want to do? And we both had tried to do solar for our houses and found it very, very difficult. Just how much paperwork you had to do, how much you had to know, try to finance it. And it just felt like the community needed a company that was going to do something that would help people get through this process and make it work. So what do we do? So when we set up Levico, we set it up as a community interest corporation. So what that means is we're not quite a charity like James's, like Cosgrove. And we're not quite a limited company. We do have shares, but that's just to define who's kind of running as a director of the company. But everything that we build for Levico is that remains as an asset for the community. So when we retire, we can't just sell this company off. What we're trying to do is build an institution that will then help all the communities in Scotland transition from fossil fuels to renewable sources. And that's something that we hope to build into a much larger institution. And I've got a short 3-minute video, and I'll talk a little bit about kind of maybe our aspirations of where we're going. So how do we do it? So the simple thing we do is we focused on a technology, because that allows us to do at any scale, whether it's a domestic garage or a massive warehouse, we can start moving that energy equation from fossil fuels to renewables. Solar is the key technology, and then anything that we can work off of that, anything electric. So anything that, let's say, Tony would install, we're hoping to supply energy. And why are we doing it? Well, I mean, obviously we have and I'll talk a little bit more about this. We have a severe problem in the climate crisis. All of us in this room are building a life and building a business, and this is a problem that threatens all of it. And the good thing about being in this room is when I look at all of you, every single one of you has a role to play in helping us solve it. So again, why solar? Solar is basically the cheapest energy source there is right now. We can install and supply energy at around 8 to 10 pence a kilowatt hour. It's dropped in the price for installing solar and using it has dropped by 90% over the last decade, and it's getting cheaper. The other thing is, over the next decade, we're expecting at least another 10%, or I don't know how to look at this. Current solar panels are about 20% efficient, and we're looking for that to go to around 30 to 33 with new technologies. And you can see the yellow bars here, this is the amount of investment in new technologies. And solar is the one really getting, right now, the biggest amount of investment. And we all know, if you can ask you can ask David Ross, you throw money at an engineering problem, you're going to come out with results. And we can see that right now we're getting a massive amount of upswing in terms of installations. We're still only 5% of world energy supplied by solar. So we've got a long way to go. So for me as a business, I go, hey, this is a great business to be in, because we're going to go through a huge growth curve in the next 10 years. What happens if we don't do enough? And I don't want to dwell on this too much, because it's a bit depressing. But just to make the point very clearly, this problem is civilization-ending problem. So the one thing that's funny about climate change that we talk about is it's really an ocean warming problem. It's not an atmospheric problem. All the energy, more than 90% of all the energy that's now being absorbed by our climate system goes into the ocean. It doesn't go, it's not in the air. So I think the one metaphor that I've heard over the last, 2-3 decades I've been working on this problem, that really stuck with me more than any other is, imagine if the bomb that destroyed Hiroshima was dropped on Greenock. You think you'd notice, right? Imagine tomorrow you woke up and 6 of those had been dropped on Scotland. So Edinburgh, Glasgow, Dundee, Perth, all gone. The amount of energy that would have been absorbed by the oceans before human beings started burning fossil fuels compared to today is equivalent to 6 Hiroshima bombs a second. That's just unbelievable. So you can see on the top chart, that's the ocean temperature rising. On the bottom, that's the black line is CO2 going up, and you can see the air temperatures. The result of that is that all of that energy is going to come out of the ocean, acts like a battery. That's going to heat up our atmosphere, and basically it's going to destroy our agricultural systems. So we have to deal with this problem. We have to deal with it. We have to make these changes. So this is why we started Levico, and I'm going to play a short 3-minute video because it kind of talks about where we go and how we can deal with this maybe at a community level rather than just an individual business level. Hello, my name is Marc Brammer, and I am the co-founder and operations director of Levico CIC. Let's start with the most important point. No one watching this video will ever experience a stable climate again. Nor will their children or their children's children. That tipping point has already been passed, and it may be many generations before it is possible for it to be restored. Whether that is merely a major challenge to humanity or a catastrophe leading to the end of our civilization depends upon the actions that we take in the next decade. We cannot just wait for policymakers or technology markets to deliver us from this crisis. We need local community-based organizations with the desire and knowledge to bring solutions to life, one person, one household, and one institution at a time. This is why Levico exists. It consists of myself, a career sustainable finance professional, and my partner, Marc, a project engineer with many years of experience in the renewable energy sector. We are registered as a CIC because it means that we can work directly with the local authorities and other public bodies to implement grant-funded renewable energy projects because of the asset lock in the company means that we don't pose a conflict of interest in the way that a limited company would. The CIC registration also means that the value we create in Levico will stay with the community to be reinvested. As project managers for renewable energy installations, we consider all aspects of these projects. This includes health and safety, the financial costs and benefits, as well as supplying the panels and equipment and connecting customers to the grid. To do this, we are registered as certified installers for solar energy systems under the Microgeneration Certification Scheme, as well as members of the Renewable Energy Consumer Code. We work with qualified and experienced solar electricians to complete our work and have developed partnerships with other organizations to both increase our effectiveness and add capabilities required for the complex and highly regulated projects we seek to put in place. For example, we have partnered with Encore Video, a virtual reality specialist, to take our work in solar design to the next level. By using drones to scan multiple buildings at a time and creating a virtual model of each building, we can expand the capability, accuracy, and scope of our work while vastly reducing the cost, time, and effort for implementing solar power projects. In a real-world example of this design process in action, here we can see a computer model of the Helix building at the West of Scotland Science Park in Glasgow. It provides a perfect example of how shading factors can affect the solar output in solar PV systems, while the octagonal building provides a perfect compass shape to highlight how orientation to the sun can impact the performance as well. With this approach, we can scan, design, and install solar power systems on hundreds, even thousands of buildings with a single process, much more cheaply than using traditional survey methods. This will make solar a feasible reality for urban areas. Levico CIC, making sustainable communities happen. Right, I'm looking at this and we've got about a minute, so I'm going to move quickly. Obviously, we do storage, battery storage as well as solar PV. We're working with basically any potential client. But I think the real point in here, because this is a business group, is investing in this technology has real-world results. As we all know, the price of energy is going up. Solar can generate at quite a much better rate. So this is real financial. So we worked with David Howitt at Forward Asset Finance. We've just done what, 20 kilowatts. And this is a business case. So the top is what Business Energy Scotland had said that their output would be in terms of benefits. So they're going to get 2,866 pounds of savings every year. We have an internal system we do to look at forecasting for the clients. And I did the case on the lower left at 29p, and that's 90K of savings over 20 years, 8,300 in the first year in terms of revenue. 3,000, sorry, it's 8,000 over of export revenue over the life of the project and 3,000 pounds in savings in the first year. David, you told me the other day that you're potentially looking at 60 pence next year. Yeah. So at 60 pence a kilowatt hour, which is a lot, I'm used to making these projects pay off at 18. You would get 186,000 pounds in savings over the life of the project. Again, the export revenue doesn't really change, but you would be getting 6,000 next year when your prices go up in terms of savings. So, I mean, the potential is huge. And I should mention, we're also going to do a battery install, which is not included in the number. So that value of this investment will increase. So, there's really no reason not to do it. It's just about, getting the financing together and getting the projects moving forward. So that's us at Levico. We are kicking the utilities in the bills and hopefully kicking climate change to the curb.